Well, we're here with Steve Horde today, who has taken the Street Beast to a new level. Street Beast, if you guys remember, it's the car from the Great Gatsby Soiree Party. Steve has taken it and redone the paint job and done the whole 9 yards on it. Cliff, the owner of Street Beast, is actually going to be putting it in the Roadster Show on March 16th through the 18th at the Expo Center. That's 2018. So right now here is Steve. Steve, thank you, man, for taking the time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for coming
Appreciate it. Yes. Why don't you give us a little input on what it takes to bring this car down to prime and bring it back to the shape that it's in and where Cliff actually wants it for and get ready for the Portland Roadster Show.
So when this car came, it had a little damage on it. Had some fender damage, and at one time that passenger door flew open on the freeway. Did some damage to the quarter panel, messed up the jam. So there's a lot of fiberglass work that needed to be done. So instead of just repairing those parts, we decided to just redo the whole car because it had a pretty decent paint job on it before, but it wasn't like a show paint job. It wasn't something that Cliff was wanting. He wanted something a little bit better. So
Okay.
what we did is we sanded the whole car down with long blocked it with 120, fixed all the waves and stuff, and this is a fiberglass bodied car, so it's not real straight to begin with. So
the whole thing is fiberglass.
the whole car is fiberglass.
Really?
So normally this is a Street Beast kit car.
Okay.
So normally, and it's a 34 Ford, so normally this body is one piece, the fenders are another piece, this is another piece, this is running board. So normally, and this is another piece, so those are all separated. But this kit car, it's all molded into one.
Wow. Okay.
So
What's the So the chassis and
it has a normal chassis underneath it. It's kind of a unibody car, which the chassis is kind of molded to the body on this car. So it's one of those kit cars that, for a fiberglass car, there's nobody else that makes one like this, and they don't make them anymore. So for a painter, it's kind of a challenge because it's easier to paint something when it's in pieces.
Sure.
So, and it's easier to polish and all that stuff. So that was the only challenge of this car. But yeah, we blocked it down, fixed all the stuff, reprimed it again, and then we put about 6 coats of color on it and 3 coats of high quality urethane clear. And now it's in the process of cutting and buffing, and it's in its second stage of polish right now. So there'll be one more stage after this. So it'll really get shiny after this.
So each stage in between when you're polishing, you're buffing. What's that process? What makes it? Does it makes it a deep gloss?
When I start the cut and buff process, like this car, on some of my show cars, I start with 600 grit, which is really coarse, and with a stick, and I block sand it.
Okay.
This car, I didn't need to do that. I started with 800 grit and sanded it. And then you go to 1,000 grit, then to 1,500 grit. Some people will go to 2,000 grit or even more, but I stopped at 1,500 and started polishing it. So then you have a cutting compound that cuts it and starts making it shiny. Then you go to another type of compound, and then it gets shinier. And then you do a finish compound, and it'll pop, and then you kind of go over it and hand polish it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the stage that I do it in.
Okay.
Other painters do it in different stages, something different, but that's how I do it.
So when you're done with everything completely, when he's ready to roll it out and take it to the Portland Roadster, so how many hours altogether would you have into a car like with a project like this that you don't have to take the car apart and what you have to do?
This car wasn't too bad because it was a done car, and I only fixed and repaired the cracks and stuff that were in it and some waves and just the repair work. So this car, from start to finish, I probably have about 240 hours in it.
Wow. It's a lot of hours.
It is.
It's a lot of, and you're sanding everything down to the air. Wow. Is it harder for or easier it being fiberglass opposed to it being a metal body car?
It's a little harder.
It's a little harder.
Yeah, it's a little harder because
Okay.
when you do a fiberglass car, not all these fiberglass cars were really high quality.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you'll be sanding, and if you sand through a gel coat, you'll get a little pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll just be a hole in the body. So then you have to repair that. So it's just, and then there's stress cracks,
Sure.
and stuff like that.
And
So,
you mentioned earlier that there was some damage to the car when you brought it in.
Mhm.
So did that damage? Did you had to repair all that
yeah,
with
we
the
had to
fiber?
we had to re-fiberglass.
What's
all
that process like when you?
It's fiberglass resin and mat. So
Okay.
the resin is 2-part, and you mix that up and you mix it into your fiberglass mat, and you repair it. I mean,
Wow, that seems like a tedious job, huh? To getting it nice and
it's
even.
tedious,
Yeah.
So
So one of the things I want to mention, Steve, is the name. I saw the name, the Suicide Customs. Man, that was to me it stands out. And I asked you, how did you come up with that name? Your answer was,
you don't forget it.
you don't forget it. It stands out. It's pretty cool. I think that should have been. I could see it on a reality show. Maybe we should help you out with that. But however, that's not all what Steve does. Steve, tell us what you do.
So my wife and I own a massage therapy clinic in Gresham called Gresham Therapeutic Massage.
Okay.
We have 24 employees. We have
Okay.
a couple chiropractors there, and it's open 7 days a week. That keeps us pretty busy.
How can they contact you?
They can contact our office phone number is 503-492-3910, and
Okay.
we're open 7 days a week, and we're pretty busy.
Pretty busy. So you guys make your appointments in advance. So it's great to talking to you. I appreciate
Yes.
it for the time.
Nice to meet you guys.
And we're excited about having this here at the Portland Roadster Show. We're very excited about having it in the magazine under Beauty and the Beast. Can't wait till we get our models to pose by it, and we'll get that editorial piece together. So we'll be seeing you guys at the Portland Roadster Show. Come on down and check us out. Thank you again, Steve. Appreciate
you.
it.
I think we nailed it.